Okay, so here's the eBay listing for the item. Very, very cheap. So it comes in 3 voltages. I chose the 5 because I've got lots of USB power supplies that are surplus to my needs. But if you've got a 12 volt adapter or something like that, then you can buy the 12 volt version. So just looking at this module in detail, it comes with a lead, which you don't need to use, but if you want to use it, it plugs into the socket. You can, of course, just solder straight on there. It also comes with an onboard activation switch, which activates the relay and latches it on and off. That's the relay output, normally open, common, normally closed. The input switch, and of course the power supply input. In this case it's a 5 volt relay. So here is the circuit as I've got it configured. This is a very rudimentary configuration. I've just put into a plastic container that was sitting in the workshop for 10 years. The connections are very simple. You've just got the power input. You've got the switch input, the switching input, and then the relay output. And they just connect up to the PCB. You can see here I've got a power socket and a socket for this, but you could just have wires going into the terminal blocks. You've got the standard Yamaha low profile sustain pedal, which is just a momentary, and you can see here when it's activated, which is perfect for a Leslie cabinet. Just one thing I left out is about the configuration here that I'm using on the back of this Yamaha keyboard. Now this is a 1980s, I think 89. It's a Yamaha V50, and it's got the FC input. And you can use a switch with the FC input by, when you push it in, you put it out one click. So that input is designed for the Yamaha expression pedal, which is going to present a potentiometer. But if you pull it out to the first click, you can then use a switch. So in case there's any ambiguity about whether I'm using this sustain pedal plugged into the sustain socket, I'm not. It's plugged into the FC socket. It took me, pulling that out to the first click, it took me a while to discover that I could use that socket with a switch. I'm not sure whether that's a well-known thing that you can do. It might be, but it took me a while to work it out. Now when I started using this sustain pedal for the Leslie cabinet, I'd have to hold it down to keep the Leslie on and then take it off when I wanted it off. But I realised that a more conventional way is to use a latching foot switch, if I'm going to use a foot switch for the Leslie, that is. I did use the modulation wheel for quite a while, but I want to keep my left hand free to play bass parts. So I've got this set up here, this piano sustain pedal set up to be operated by the left foot. I don't have the piano sustain pedal for the regular sustain duty on this setup because I've got this keyboard set up just to practice Hammond style. Here it is, so that's off, on, and of course it's latching. So that's quite an elegant solution to a difficult problem, considering that I was going to either modify this switch to make it a latching switch, or I was going to build one or buy one, but I didn't want to buy one because I couldn't find one that felt as good under the foot as one of these standard piano sustain pedals. It seems to be, once you get a big toggle switch in a box, it can be a little bit uncomfortable to keep lifting your foot up and down, whereas this, which is designed to be used in the sitting position already as a sustain pedal, it was the best solution. So I hope that helps somebody. Alrighty.